Hey, what's up? It's Clayton Thomas-Muller, campaigner with Idle No More, and co-director of the Indigenous Tarsands campaign, coming at you from my kitchen. A lot of conversations are, going on in Indian country about many of our people who garner their livelihood from working for some of the biggest employers of our people in the energy, forestry, and mining sector. On the matter of workers in the extractive industries sector, in my opinion, this fight against corporate power is not about workers. Our people are in a state of economic blackmail by these companies, and the policy approval, oversight, and enforcement legal regime that they are self-managing due to a lack of government oversight. This is especially prevalent in places like the Alberta tar sands, and now everywhere across these lands they call Canada in a post-Bill C-45 era. If presented with options, I do believe our people would choose to gain livelihood, or rather they would not choose to gain livelihood from poisoning our water, earth, air, and self. They would rather have those things remain healthy so that they could continue to be able to provide for our kids forever. I do think that the fight against corporate power should target corporate CEOs, corporate boards, shareholders, and the banks that finance them through an economic paradigm that tells us it's okay to sacrifice peoples, the commons, our values, and everything under grandfather's son at the altar of irresponsible resource development and economic policy. This economic system allows these individuals, like individual or institutional shareholders, CEOs and their corporate boards, most of which living thousands of miles away from where these horrific developments are taking place, to continue to line their pockets. And at the highest levels of governance, there are structural reinforcements that allow this uneven playing field to continue. To understand what I'm talking about at a much deeper level, you should Google what's wrong with the neoliberal free market agenda. Our workers need just transition to sustainable livelihoods, just as much as our First Nations deserve to be compensated for the harm externalized on our people's air, water, and lands. In the end, what our movement, I believe, is talking about is the radical redistribution of land and wealth. Land ownership and wealth that was amassed with stolen Indian lands and slave labor through gunboat diplomacy and in many cases outright genocide. Imagine what will happen when the workers of these lands they call Canada unite with the true owners, or in our world and cosmo perspective, the true stewards of these lands. And of course what I'm talking about is our fellow Indigenous peoples and our considerable constitutionally protected collective rights social movement tactical framework. Imagine the kind of political, economic, social, spiritual people power we could wield. Workers and Indigenous peoples unite. This is a couple of thoughts from Clayton Thomas-Muller, campaigner with Idle No More and Defenders of the Land. Hashtag Sage Against the Machine. Twitter, Google+, and Facebook this if you feel compelled to.